The most advanced warship ever built just changed course. The USS Gerald R. Ford is heading toward the Middle East, and it's not just a routine deployment. With tensions with Iran reaching critical levels, Washington is now sending its biggest military asset into the region. Why now? What's on board? And what could happen next? On June 24, 2025, the U.S. Navy confirmed that the USS Gerald R. Ford, America's newest and most powerful aircraft carrier, has been deployed from Europe and is potentially en route to reinforce operations in the Middle East. The move comes after a wave of destabilizing actions from Iran, including ballistic missile activity, cyber attacks, and threats against U.S. allies in the region. As diplomatic pressure builds, the Pentagon is putting steel in the water, and when the Gerald R. Ford sails in your direction, you pay attention. The USS Gerald R. Ford is the lead ship of America's newest class of nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. Commissioned in 2017 and declared fully operational in 2022, it represents a generational leap in naval power. With a displacement of over 100,000 tons and more than 1,100 feet in length, it can carry over 75 aircraft. But what really sets the Ford apart is its advanced technology. Instead of steam catapults, it uses the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, or EMALS, which allows for smoother, faster, and more reliable aircraft launches. It's also equipped with the Advanced Arresting Gear system for safer and more precise landings. Its flight deck supports the full air wing of F-18E and F Super Hornet fighter jets, EA-18G Growlers for electronic warfare, E-2D Hawkeye early warning aircraft, MH-60R and S helicopters, and soon the MQ-25 Stingray drone for aerial refueling. The Ford's reactors provide essentially unlimited range for the next 25 years, and its dual-band radar system offers unprecedented situational awareness, tracking multiple air, surface, and missile targets at once. Simply put, the USS Gerald R. Ford is a floating fortress, a self-sustained war machine capable of launching hundreds of sorties per day. The Gerald R. Ford is the centerpiece of a powerful carrier strike group, a full combat formation designed for air dominance, missile defense, and sea control. This strike group includes the USS Normandy, a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser outfitted with the Aegis combat system and vertical launch cells capable of firing SM-6 air defense missiles and Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles. Alongside are several R. Lee Burke-class destroyers, like USS Ramage and USS Thomas Hudner, each equipped for multi-role combat, anti-air, anti-submarine, and anti-surface warfare. There's also likely a fast attack submarine operating with the group, probably Virginia-class, providing covert intelligence and undersea strike capability. Supporting logistic ships, oilers, supply vessels, and ammunition tenders allow the group to stay deployed indefinitely. Together, these ships form an integrated naval force that can control the air and sea, strike land targets, and defend against incoming threats from aircraft, ships, submarines, and missiles. It's a self-contained military ecosystem that can operate independently or with allied forces in the region. This deployment is not happening in a vacuum. Tensions with Iran have escalated dramatically over the last month. Iranian forces launched several ballistic missiles near U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria, a clear warning shot. There have been reports of Iranian naval harassment in the Strait of Hormuz, with speedboats approaching commercial vessels in international waters. At the same time, cyber attacks have hit energy infrastructure across the Gulf, and U.S. intelligence points to Iranian-linked actors. Tehran has also vowed retaliation after alleged Israeli strikes on nuclear development sites deep inside Iranian territory. In response, the U.S. is moving from a posture of observation to one of deterrence and rapid response. CENTCOM is preparing for potential retaliatory strikes, not just from Iran, but from its proxies, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and Shia militias in Iraq and Syria. The Gerald R. Ford's arrival in the region is part of that strategy. It gives the U.S. an immediate ability to launch sustained airstrikes, enforce maritime security, and conduct joint operations with regional allies if conflict breaks out. While the Ford brings offensive firepower, the U.S. is also reinforcing its defensive posture. Several THAAD batteries, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, have been activated in Qatar and the UAE, designed to intercept incoming ballistic missiles in their final flight phase. Patriot missile systems remain deployed in Kuwait, Bahrain, and Jordan, capable of intercepting both short-range and medium-range threats. The U.S. Navy has additional R. Lee Burke-class destroyers in the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea, which provide mobile missile defense through the Aegis system. European allies are also present. The French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle has operated in the eastern Mediterranean, and British Type 45 destroyers have integrated with U.S. naval assets for joint patrols. The airspace over the Gulf is already crowded with U.S. and Allied surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft, including Global Hawk drones and manned platforms like the RC-135 Rivet Joint. All of this forms a dense, multi-layered defensive shield around U.S. forces and key infrastructure in the region, a necessary move in case Iran attempts a large-scale retaliation. With the Ford heading into the region, the U.S. will have the ability to conduct immediate precision strikes if Iran or its proxies cross a red line. Aircraft from the Ford have already begun patrols in international airspace near the Gulf, while U.S. Special Forces and Marine units are on alert across embassies and strategic locations. The USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, though rotating out of the region, could return on short notice. If needed, the U.S. could surge 2 carrier groups into the theater within 72 hours, giving it overwhelming control over air and sea lanes. But it's not just about military capability. This is a high-stakes game of messaging. The presence of the Gerald R. Ford signals to Iran and to regional powers that the U.S. is prepared for escalation, but also hoping to prevent it. This is a textbook case of strategic deterrence. However, history has shown that even the best deterrence doesn't always work, especially in the Middle East, where proxy actions and miscalculation can spiral quickly. The USS Gerald R. Ford is not just a ship, it's a statement. Its deployment toward the Middle East means the U.S. is no longer waiting for Iran to act. It's preparing to shape the battlefield in advance. Whether this move prevents a larger war or brings one closer will depend on what happens next, on land, at sea, and in the shadows where Iran's influence often moves. What's clear is that the United States is putting its most powerful assets on the front line, and the world is watching closely. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, consider subscribing and hitting the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Let us know in the comments what you think about the USS Gerald R. Ford's deployment. Is this a smart move, or a step closer to conflict? We'll be following this situation closely. Until next time, stay informed, stay sharp.